Good afternoon. Woodscamp is a technology-powered timber broker. Simply put, we connect people who have trees to people who need them. Imagine a real estate market with no MLS system and nobody understands the value of their property, but every once in a while somebody drives up to your driveway and offers you $50,000 to sell your home. You have no way of discerning whether it's a good deal or not, but if you need $50,000, you might just say yes. Thankfully, this isn't how the real estate market works anymore, but in North America and Europe alone, over $23 billion worth of timber is sold every year on this broken model from small private woodlots. Nova Scotia, where we're from, is a microcosm of a global phenomenon. In our region, the forest industry, 60% of the forest industry supply comes from small private woodlots. And the network of human relationships that made this market work for a century is in the process of disintegrating. A new generation's inheriting these properties, and they don't understand how to manage a forest the way that their grandparents or even their parents did. And more importantly, the technological sophistication that drives large vertically integrated forestry companies are completely inaccessible to this enormous segment of the supply chain. And so landowners not knowing what to do, choose to do nothing. And the forest industry then has to secure its supply from fewer and fewer properties. And this is the result. At Woodscamp, we're developing a two-sided marketplace to deliver the transparency and efficiency that's required to unlock this trapped value for landowners while delivering the most difficult and complex part of a mill's supply chain at a lower marginal cost. Since launching we launched our first product, and we have more than tripled the efficiency of wood procurement by taking the process from door knocking and kitchen table interviews to social networks and the web. Our model is that we take 10% of the value of the timber, the value of the timber that we broker on the platform, 5% from the landowner, and 5% from the mill for aggregating the most difficult part of their supply. Since launching Woodscamp.com 4 months ago, we've developed a pipeline of over $16 million worth of timber that could be sustainably harvested from Nova Scotian forests this year. And our signups blanket the entire our pilot region. And the problem that we're solving in Nova Scotia today is not a local phenomenon. This problem persists everywhere where the forest is primarily in private ownership and is widely recognized as one of the most overlooked and urgent environmental issues of our time. We're an award-winning team, and we've developed a group of advisors of some of the smartest minds in forestry. We're raising a pre-seed round at the moment, and it's being led by a local institutional VC in our ecosystem. Yeah, so if you have forested land in your family or you know someone who does, please come and talk to us today. We want to talk to you about your experience. If you're an investor and you want to be part of the story of how we transform forestry for the next generation, we'd love to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, Mike, kick it off.
Great job. So, question is, how much land do you need for it to make sense for you from an economic standpoint to serve?
It varies, and so when somebody signs up and identifies their property on our map, we want to run our algorithms with all the different variables that matter to figure out if that landowner has the economic context for getting land work done that lines up with their values. If they don't, we encourage them to get their neighbors on the platform, because at that point we can create a small syndicate that unlocks the economies of scale to get selection harvesting.
Yeah, Monica?
So I can see that you spend a lot of time with each of these clients right now, and so about how much value is each client to you if you're taking 10% of the total?
Right, so what we're doing is actually spending as little possible as time by automating the front end of this. That's one of the things that's transformative about this. We do send boots on the ground to go and validate our data and the analysis. The point is to send them to the right properties. The average transaction size is $60,000.
Gross.
Gross. Sorry, gross. Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about your marketing strategy. I like that you explicitly alluded to the fact that you are playing with a two-sided marketplace. So are you focusing more on the people who own the land or the people who are kind of sourcing the wood, and how are you growing that group?
Yeah, so what we identified early on is that the riskiest side of the riskiest side is the landowner side, and how do we find those landowners online? And that's how we find them. That's where we spent the first part of the business, and we've got some pretty solid traction there. We think that we put that map in front of mills in that region. They're very excited about what we do. But my background is in video games. My co-founder's from forestry. We're applying the tactics of precision marketing, and we're acquiring these users through Facebook.
Carrie?
Have you looked into where forest fires are most prevalent and thought about pulling in folks who have forests that need to be cleared for forest fire prevention as a potential market?
In western regions, the forests are primarily, there are a lot of state forests, right? Where we're specifically focused is in the outcomes that result from the inefficiency in procurement, where the forest is primarily in private ownership. And those tend not to be, in at least our initial regions, are not, forest fires are not the disturbance patterns.
What criteria do you use for sustainability to know? Is it about where people harvest the wood, or is it about?
It's about the volume of removal, right? And so what we're working towards is an uneven age structure of trees, so that it's not intensive, heavy, and short rotation forestry, where you're clear cutting, replanting, thinning.
Perfect timing. Let's give it up for Alistair.